Hi everybody, it's Nicolas Dorier. So today I will present you what we have been working on DigiLab, and it's called the Hack0. So it's a Bitcoin full node with BTCP server already installed on it. And if you're a Bitcoiner, you know that there is lots of different competitors that are doing this. So there is a Bitbox Base, there is a Raspberry Blitz, there is MyNode, there is Casa Hodl. So there is lots of different competitor, and we believe that lots of them already integrate BTCP server, but the problem is that they are using their own software stack for managing BTCP server, which is fine. But if you already used BTCP server on a virtual private server, or if you are reading our documentation, very often you will find out that most of people using BTCP are actually using what we call the Docker deployments. And by Docker deployments, the Docker deployment is basically the main way that in BTCP we are deploying not only BTCP but also Bitcoin Core and a bunch of other software, for example Lightning Network, easily on the server of people that want to use it. And all the different solutions that are using boxes basically are using their own stack. And for example, if BTCP server update to a new version, then you need to wait that their stack is updating as well. And if you want help, you need to ask them rather than looking at documentation that lots of people are using and relying on. So first, I want to show you a little bit like how there is different way to deploy BTCP server, and I will tell you why it makes sense to do it in a box. But first, like, I believe that if you are a merchant with a web store, you should not try to use a box. I think you should definitely use a virtual private server if you can. The reason is that when you are a web merchant, you want high availability, so you don't want that if there is a problem of electrical problem in your house, then your business cannot run, or you don't want that your internet address leak in internet. So if you are just a web store, I think a BTCP box, a box with BTCP inside is not really interesting. However, if you are an individual and just want a confidential way to manage your wallets, or like having a simple point of sale system for your retail environment, I think it totally makes sense to use BTCP server and on a box. And there is basically three ways of deploying it. There is one way that is a manual deployment. I will come to that. There is the other way that I will come to that later. Basically, like, manual deployment is that you download all the software, you read the doc, you plug the config file as it should, and you hope that it works. I advise you against this because it's a very complicated process. There is a hardware deployment process so basically the hardware deployment process, what we call that, is you buy some component out of the shelf, so Raspberry Pi 4 or like Rock 64 or whatever, and then you follow one of our tutorials. So we have video tutorial on it. We have like lots of documentation on our website. You just have to follow it, and you will have your BTCP server up and running. The main problem with this is that it's not always easy. It's not very repeatable process. Maybe on your network there's small change that you have to do. So it's you can use that, but keep in mind that it's a bit technical, and you need proper motivation to do it. The last way is actually to just buy a box with everything pre-installed, like with BTCP server pre-installed and Bitcoin Core pre-installed and everything, and you just plug it to your network and it works. And so that's what a bunch of them have, bunch of company has been doing, and that's what we are doing right as well. So if I show you, so what those boxes are helping on is that in general, when you want a BTC a Bitcoin setup, you have lots of different software that you need to configure, and all those different softwares. The problem is that they always change. When they update, they always have breaking changes. So basically, even if like we took the time to write a mega blog post explaining how to install each of these individual software, when one of these software will update, basically our article will be completely outdated. So, and not only this, even if you are using a software with the right version, depending the Linux distribution you are using, the way of using it is quite, the instruction might be different. So it's not very, installing everything by yourself is actually not an option because it's very complicated. So the other way to do that, to fix this problem, is that most of our competitors have a custom image that they put on some board of like Raspberry Pi 4 or Rock64, and with all the software pre-installed on it. The problem with this system is that it's not very easy to update PCs, and it's not easy to customize for your own need. So the approach that we took with BTC Pay Server very early, and one that most people are using when they're using for hosting BTC Pay on a VPS, is we decided to use Docker. So Docker, in a nutshell, Docker is kind of emulating a specific operating system of a specific version for the application it's running. So for example, you can have like Tor that is running on a Debian, that thinks that it's running on the Debian, but actually is running on a Ubuntu. So it's very good because it means that everything is more stable because you have more control over the exact environment that your code is running to. And after, we need to plug all those pieces together, and to do this, we are using what we call Docker Compose. So the nice thing with Docker Compose is that all the definition of how to tie those pieces together is basically into one file that is called YAML file. It's a Docker Compose YAML file. And it's the nice thing is that it becomes very easy to make updates. So when you are doing a BTC Pay Server update, what it's doing is it's very simple. It's just pulling the latest version of your Docker Compose file from some repository on GitHub, and it's just running Docker Compose again. Docker Compose will automatically detect which software has been updated. So for software that has been updated, they will tear it down and run the new version automatically. So the downtime is very limited. You don't need to restart your, you don't need to reflash a new image. You don't need to restart your server. You just need to update some of the pieces of your infrastructure, and it's up and running. So it's very easy. And the nice thing is that we are already using that for VPS. So it means that our goal is to use the exact same tool for Raspberry for on Rock64. So I will dive in a bit into the hardware that we are using. So we documented the hardware. You can see it in Hack0-hardware. For those that know about the Bitbox base, we basically use the exact same hardware as them, except we are using our own stack, our own software stack that I will come to in a moment. So you can see there is a Rock64. Actually, I will show you. I will show you directly on video. We have this board. So it's a Rock64 Pro board. I will come back to it later. It's like a Raspberry Pi 4 on steroid. So it's way more reliable, and it's way more powerful than a Raspberry Pi 4. I've been running that for 2 or 3 years. I never got any problem with it. I highly recommend it, and it's not very expensive. So we decided to go and use that. On top of this, we added a fan. So the fan is that the first time you will start BTC Pay Server, you will need to sync with the network on the network. The problem when you sync with the network is that the board will become very hot, which can damage components. So by adding a fan, it will cool down your board, and make sure that the CPU is not throttled, so the sync time will be faster. On top of that, we are using a SSD SD card. So if you are flashing Hack0 by yourself, if you are buying component by yourself, you will have to flash this card with the image of Hack0 that I will come back in a moment. And basically, you can just insert it somewhere here. Somewhere here. On top of this, you will need a SSD drive. So you don't need lots of storage. I think 120 gigabytes is enough. But the problem is that you cannot just plug it directly to the board. You know, there is no way I can plug it. Like, cannot plug it. It doesn't enter here. So like, you basically need this sort of adapter. I will show you some of them soon. But basically, you plug your SD drive here. Okay. And then you just like plug it here, and then you plug it in the PCI Express port here, and you're done. So then when you start, you will be able to start using BTC Space Server. So basically, if you buy from us, this is what you will get. You will get this board with this fan, with the adapter, the SD, with the box. With this box that you can very easily open, you know, there is lots of access here for opening it easily. And some outlet so you can plug it to wherever country you are living in. So of course you can buy all the components by yourself. It's fine as well. It's a bit pain in the ass. So actually all of that, we documented it on this website. You can take a look by yourself, but like all the components are around like $200, something like this. On the website, we documented that we are using Emmc. So Emmc is like kind of it's kind of a replacement of SD card that you can plug here. I mean, you can do both. We support both, so you can use either SD card or Emmc. It doesn't really matter. And we put it also link where you can buy this stuff. I really encourage you to take a look at a Pine64 website. So Pine is really a great company. They are doing lots of awesome stuff. So the Pine phone, for example, lots of laptop. They are really pushing the open hardware, and the quality of their board is very good for the price. So I really advise you to take a look at them, and please try to convince them to accept Bitcoin. I think they are very near from doing so. So I count on you. And so this is for the hardware part. For the software part, we have another repository. It's Hack0 Hornbian. And when you are in this repository, you need to go in the BTC Pay branch. And in the BTC Pay branch, you need to go to user patches. And in user patches, I document everything that you need if you want to build the image by yourself, or if you want to try to develop on it. You need a Linux machine to do it. So if you want, if you bought by yourself all the different components that I just show you, and you want to deploy it by yourself, but you cannot build the image, you can just download a pre-built image that I have here. We will update a new version soon. This pre-image come with a UTXO set from February, so it means that when you will power up the first time BTC server, you will have to sync for like 6 months of blocks. So it's I mean, it will take like maybe 6 hours to do it. And then you can access directly your Hack0 through hack0.local on your local network. So it's pretty open. Like if you check, we are based on Armbian, which is kind of it's by Armbian is based on Debian, and our software stack is very light. We are not doing anything fancy than just making sure that the SSD is properly formatted with Docker pre-install on it and with BTCP server and everything pre-install on it, so that the first time that you start it, it just works out of the box. So it's kind of very lean modification that we did. So that's why it's very easy to hack around, and we encourage you to hack around. So last thing I want to encourage you. So if you are interested into Hack0, and if you are interested for that we ship a Hack0 pre-configured with BTCP, with everything already installed that you can just plug to your home and it just work. You can buy it. You will be able to buy it directly from us. But the trick is we will not do a lot. So Hack0 is not a commercial project for us. So right now it's more an experimental project that we are releasing to the public, and we just want feedback and like impression of what people thinks. And so it's not a commercial project for us. So another thing we're interested is if you know a local community of, for example, merchant retailer that might be interested to accept Bitcoin, then it might be interesting for you to buy those boxes and install it at their place. So you can, for example, charge more than just the box. Also, you can charge the service, the consulting service that you are using for helping them to accept Bitcoin, for example. So, I mean, you can buy all those components by yourself, but if you want us to just ship it pre-assembled for you, then go on this website. That is hack0.gp/newsletter. And basically, we will... the first batch we'll do is very little. Maybe it will be between 20 and 50 board. We are not sure. And we will notify first people that submitted to the newsletter. And we will process comment order first from people that are in the newsletter. And the reason is that we need to know approximately how much people are interested into it, and to ship it, to know how much we will build it. So don't worry, we'll do nothing sneaky with your email. It's really just for telling you when it's out. Okay. And that's all I wanted to show you. And I hope you find Hack0 interesting. We also have a channel on chat.btcpserver.org that you can go. It's a Hack0 channel. There is like 10 people right now around that have been hacking around with it. Basically, this Hack0, we already shipped it back when we were in the Honey Badger conference in Riga. There was a BTCP server event. We distributed like 10 board to different people, and the feedback has been really great. So we are not trying to expand it a little bit more. So our hope like around 30 or 50 bucks, and the price will be basically around the price of the component. So I guess it will be between around 200 USD per box. So it's around the same that if you order the component by yourself. So having said this, I hope you find it interesting, and let me know if you like it.